Hello everyone, and welcome to Uncut with Gina and Sukdev. My name's Gina Gardner and my company is Genuinely You, and I'm joined by my good friend Sukdev, and he is the head of...
I'm the founder of Creative Discovery Group. We are a coaches platform or a coaches hub all around the world. We're in 12 different countries, and I'm looking forward to this meeting today, Gina.
And we're joined today by our guest, Malcolm. Malcolm, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us, and particularly as it was at short notice because we'd had a cancellation, so really grateful to you. I'm going to ask you, what would you like to focus on? And Sukdev is going to start us off. So what would you like to focus on?
So I think the main area I'd like to focus on today is I've come out of retirement and I'm trying to get my coaching business out into the world and the struggles, challenges, successes along the way. And I feel that some support around that and my journey at the moment, where I am in the journey right now, will be really useful.
Okay, so Sukdev, do you want to make a start?
Yeah, so tell me a little bit more in detail. Where are you now and where do you want to be, Malcolm?
Okay, so where I am now is I'm in the process of I've hired a virtual assistant because technology is, like many people of my generation, not the strongest suit. And I'm in the process of working with him to get my website completed so that then I can offer my services. For example, it will be my coaching business. I want to, my niche is helping guys like me. So my mess is my message kind of thing.
Okay. So you feel like you're not getting started, or have you started?
I guess like any journey, I have challenges and opportunities. And right now, any support and encouragement I can get from, for example, this call is very useful for me because I can't do this on my own.
Okay. I'm trying to see here, where exactly is the challenge? What do you think is the biggest piece that's holding you back right now?
Okay, technology is one. The second thing is maybe people talk about a fear of success and a fear of failure. If I had the one that springs to mind for me that may be driving some of this, or not only the technology issue, but what's going to happen if I am successful? And how radically will my life change? Will I be a one-minute wonder? Will I be successful if I am? So it's fear of the unknown, I guess.
Okay, that part, what I'm going to tell you right now real quick is it's not going to happen overnight. So you'll have time to prepare for it. So you got like take your stresses and kind of calm them down, because you're jumping way far ahead, because nothing happens instantly, right? It takes time. Everything takes time. So in that time, which is good, because in that time you're going to prepare and you're going to adapt to these new feelings, and you're going to also set new goals. And then when you move towards that, you're going to do it again, and then you're going to do it again, and then it's going to just start happening for you. But the biggest thing is to start and taking action and starting.
Yeah, and that's exactly my issue at the moment. That on the one hand, I want to get all the pieces as good as possible, but I know it's also about taking action, and I need to get, that needs to be probably in the forefront now, that I'm taking imperfect action, but I am taking some action. So the struggle is I want this just right, and and not wanting to put out something that isn't what I consider not perfect, but as good as I can make it, right? So I'm working with that right now, that issue of, and I am trying to do that, and I am doing it, but it's hard.
Yeah, it's going to be hard because you can't plan to fail. You're going to fail. Everybody fails. The successful people fail. And so there's no easy way to fail. It just happens once you, and the biggest thing, like I said, taking action, and don't plan, nothing's going to be perfect. Like you said, perfection isn't real. It's nothing's going to be perfect. So there's no reason to plan all this stuff. There's no reason to plan to fail. It'll just happen, right? So it's a good thing, because once you fail, you're growing, because you know what you shouldn't be doing, and how you that get into what is going to become you. So I'm going to pass this over to Gina real quick and get her input on this question.
So can I ask you, why do you want to coach people? What's the motivation?
Okay. So I've been on this journey for a while now, and I've got, okay, what's my why, probably you're asking. Yeah. So my why is that I grew up in an environment where there was judgment, criticism, and I'm not feeling good enough. And in my journey, I've now become more confident, because I realized that the story that I was telling myself wasn't true. Mm-hmm. So in a nutshell, it's I want to help men specifically. I only say that gender specific because I'm a guy, right? Okay. And I want to help men like me that grew up feeling not good enough, or self-esteem, not confident, and all the implications of that. So wounded men, I want to stop the legacy in my family of wounded men wounding others, whether that's their kids or their wife, which is personal for me. I want to help and serve men like me, that I'm going to make a difference. I'm going to change my personal legacy, and that's going to be my life's work. Okay. Because it's personal. And this is the why that drives me.
We said it was uncut. Excuse me, Leo, get down. He's my apologies about my cat. So let me ask you, and you have a really, really great mission, helping people who have been wounded by their lack of self-belief. Okay. Just imagine that you are the client and you're speaking to you, and you have this great mission, and you're worried about things being good enough to go out. What would you say to them?
Well, the thing that immediately springs to mind is the fact that this feeling of not measuring up, not being good enough, even though for me I've spent literally years to develop more self-worth, self-esteem, but even now it still creeps in. And I would say to that person, you know, be kind to yourself. Don't beat yourself up. It's a process. It's a journey. And I would use me as an example of all my, you know, of how, like Sukhdev said about starting a business, doesn't happen overnight. It's a process. It's a journey. You fail, but the successful people don't quit. They don't give up. They brush themselves off and move on, and they learn what they need to learn from so-called failure. So I would kind of go on that tack.
Okay, so you're given really great advice. Are you going to take it?
Yes.
Okay.
I will take it because I know it makes sense to me.
So one of the things when you're starting something new is that many of us, most of us at some point, have the sense that it's got to be perfect before it goes out. But pretty well anything that we start doing, when we first start doing it, we are, you know, the 4 levels of consciousness, don't you? Unconscious incompetence, you don't know how bad you are. Okay. Yeah. And then the next level is conscious incompetence, you do know how bad you are. And then conscious competence, where you know, if you think about it, you can do it. And then you get to the level of mastery or unconscious competence. Okay. But lots of people get stuck in that place of conscious incompetence or conscious competence. Think about driving. When you first start to drive, you get in front of the wheel, and most people are either very frightened or very cocky, aren't they? This is easy, or what am I going to do? But then when they have lessons, they go to the place where actually at conscious competence level, they know mirror, signal, maneuver. But they have to think about it, okay? And then they get to the place where you drive somewhere and you've no idea how you drove because you just do it. And what you're talking about in terms of starting your business will go through those levels. But if you're not careful in the need to have it, if not perfect, so good that actually it paralyzes you, it stops you getting on, then it's destructive. So part of this, and this is from personal experience, and I'm going to ask Sukhdev if that's his experience as well, is it has to be good enough. Your intention has to be pure, that you want to make a positive difference. And there are so many people out there hurting who need that help. Yeah. And it has to be good enough to get the message out. But when I first started doing online stuff, and technology is not my thing, and I look back at those videos that I created only a couple of years ago, and I look at the quality of what I do now, there's no comparison. And when I first started, I was nervous and I stuttered, and now I don't see the camera, I see the person I'm working with, because I've got used to it. It is a journey, it is a process. There was a famous golfer, I can't remember his name, he said, you know, it's really interesting, isn't it? The more I practice, the luckier I get. And this is no different. The more you do, the more you'll be able to do. Every journey starts with the first step. And you know, Sukhdev, has that been, first of all, has that been your experience? That you start off and you're not very good at it, you're not very confident, but you get better as you go along?
Yes, exactly. So what happened, 100%. That's I think that's a part of life and starting a business especially. Nothing is going to be perfect in the beginning. I remember being scared to even message other people. Like, there's so much fear involved, but once you start, you clean things up. Once you get your first yes, and then the rest of them, they start. So it's not about fancy websites and things like that. Yes, it's nice to have because then you're online, but your focus should be on your end result and on your goal and working towards that. And, you know, that's what I can provide for you. Can you share something that you've done besides the website, the steps you've taken to achieve your goal?
Well, the main thing I've done, I guess, is work on me, because I believe in the fact that everything begins and ends with you. It's totally an inside job.
I would agree.
So I've been working on that aspect of myself, not trying to fix myself or change myself, but develop myself to become the person that I'm going to be, or that I am becoming. So, you know, whether that's communication, anytime I hit a fear barrier, my desire for what I want to achieve overrides the fear, and I still do it. So I guess I'm building my character, and that's helping me in the process.
Yeah.
They're the two
What
things.
vehicle? You've got your website, but a website in and of itself does nothing.
Okay, so my vehicle was going to be a book, but now I want to begin my coaching and eventually have a speaking business and have a book, all of that. So a coaching business that will begin with just like sitting on a call with my client, helping them with their life issue of self-worth and how it's impacting their career, their relationship with their wife, their kids, whatever, and then becoming more and developing from the little seed, like any seed, and the more I guess the successful I become, because, you know, whether it's Tony Robbins or whoever, they all had to start at the beginning. So my message, I want to get as far and wide as possible.
One of the best bits of advice I was given as a very new coach, and I've coached now for pretty well 30 years in all sorts of guises, is, and this is a very female example, but you'll understand what I mean. Where does the sort of person you want to help hang out? Because if you want a Prada handbag, you don't go to Marks and Spencer's, all right? So if you want to work with Marks and Spencer's handbags, you go to where the people who buy from Marks and Spencer's hang out. But if you want to work with Prada handbag people, then you have to think about where you'll find those. So you want to work with guys, and you want to work with, I mean, have you got an age group in mind, or guys in general, or?
I guess probably it would be guys round about, if I had to niche it down, in maybe the 30 to 50 demographic.
So where are you going to find them? Where do they hang out in a way that they are going to look for help?
That's a good question, because I totally get that analogy. So I'm not quite sure at this stage where, you know, say for example, there was a guy like me who was married with 2 kids, and he was going to a job, but he realized day in, you know, the same job, but his marriage wasn't working, the relationship with the kids wasn't great, and he was looking for something different. So where would that family guy go? So the only thing I think of right now is where, if I put myself out there with my website and people are searching, people will look at that site and think, oh my God, that is me. That's interesting. And that guy's offering a free coaching session, so I'll contact him. Another person might think, oh, that guy's completely not for me, because we're all different, and what works for one person won't work for another. So that's my only awareness of where I can connect with guys like that.
So one of the issues around having a website is it won't be seen unless you let people know, you signpost that it's there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you can do that with keywords and search optimization and so on, but there's a lot of white noise out there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you talked about wanting to write a book. One of the ways that you might consider is around using vehicles like Facebook and LinkedIn, creating articles, blogs. And one of the ways to write your book is to write a series of blogs, which are actually mini sections of chapters to your book, so that ultimately you're doing two things at once. And then getting known on LinkedIn, creating contacts and looking for people who are your contacts, being, if you like, your niche group. But I would suggest to you, if you're relying totally upon your website being found by the people that you want to help, that's not going to be enough.
Mm.
So you say you have somebody helping you with technology, then one of the things to do is to think about, where will you find them? Are these guys likely to go onto LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook? And then focus on getting to know whichever platform you decide is the most useful vehicle. And part of this is getting over the fear and starting to use it yourself. And I know, because I resisted big time, but when you do start, the more you do it, the easier it becomes. Yeah. And so you said you want to write a book. Do you enjoy writing?
Okay, so I enjoy writing, but right now I don't want to dissipate my energy and focus on writing a book, speaking and coaching. I want to focus right now just on coaching. And
but
I
hold
think
on, I'm going to stop you. I'm going to stop you, because you have this idea that they're like lanes on a motorway. Well, actually, no, you have an idea that they are different roads. I'm suggesting to you that one of the ways to create the contact with the people that you want in order to coach them, I'm not talking about writing your book per se, but putting out content in the form of blogs or articles, which is giving some advice, which will then people say, oh, that's my problem, and I like that guy Malcolm because he talks real sense. I'll go and look at his website and I'll find out more about him. Where I'm suggesting the book comes in, if you're really canny, that you can write your blog as a series which can then be put together to be your book later. But this is the hook. You need a hook that people can then start to see who you are and whether you are somebody that they want to work with. The problem with just having a website is it's like having a drop in a large ocean, because there are millions of websites. How are they going to find you? And the articles, the blogs, the writing is a way of saying, I'm here, and then people recognizing whether, yeah, that's a guy I'd like to work with. Another way of doing that is belonging to networking groups, okay, and talking about who you help and what you do. And again, choosing the right networking group. For you, it's going to be, you're going to want a network group where there's going to be a lot of guys there. Yeah. And it's good speaking practice. It's not that you're going to speak, but actually how you give your message, people will then say, I want to work with you or not. So it's not about dissipating your energies. It's about harnessing what you want to do, who you want to work with, and then putting out really big signposts that say, I'm here, I can help you, this is what I stand for. Okay?
I love that. I love the word signpost resonates totally, and I love that. Thank you for shining the light, giving me a signpost, so to speak, on that. Excuse the pun, because that is so important. And now you verbalize it again. That was in my awareness that I needs to be brought to light. So that is an excellent way. Yeah, because all that you said about writing about an issue that is important to me, maybe it's just a 5 minutes or just doing a 10-minute podcast on one of these apps, not a podcast, but say, for example, doing a talk for 5 minutes one day about an issue and then do another one the next day, upload it, and then whatever. But those formats, articles, posts, blogs, putting yourself out there,
Yeah.
and then it drives the traffic to the website. So that's great, and I'm happy that you said that, because
let me give you an example. I did a 7-day happiness challenge on Facebook, okay, which was a 15-20-minute video, 7 consecutive days around different strategies to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
That then, I used the transcript of that, and it became a book and a journal. Okay? It didn't start off life as that.
Right.
I did it purely as a 7-day Facebook challenge. But then the guy that I work with, my technical guy, said, well, this would make a great book. And so it became a book. So I think at the moment what you've been doing is you've been thinking almost tunnel vision. And the problem with that is we live in a world that doesn't work like that anymore.
Yeah.
You know, they talk about you needing to touch people 7 times in some way or other before they start to trust you. And it's probably more than that now. So this is about how do you get your message, broadcast your message in a consistent way where the right people then think, oh, that's who I want to work with.
Mm.
Yeah. Sukhdev, in terms of, you know, advising Malcolm, in terms of how he moves this forward, you've got such an experience in terms of how many coaches you work with your organization. What would you say, you know, your top pieces of advice for getting the message out there?
I think it goes back to networking and finding like-minded individuals. Because if you found somebody else, let's say on the same mission as you, do you know anybody who's on the same mission as you, Malcolm?
Not right now, not, you know, specific enough, no.
Okay.
But that would absolutely be helpful if I did have someone in my circle. But
Yeah.
right now, Sukhdev, I don't.
Okay. I'm going to introduce you to a couple people. I'm going to introduce you to one group. That'll be helpful for you.
Thank you.
Then I'll introduce you to somebody in, I believe he's in Thailand. But again, there's a couple of people in the same network as, you know, it'll be complementary to each other. And that's the thing, is finding others who are in the same mission as you. You're learning off them, developing with them. You're going to probably create some collaborative ideas. But that's what I would do is start researching more and more people in your area, even, you know, like in Vancouver, there's quite a few people, there's quite a few coaches. And just by connecting, networking, that'll be really helpful for you.
Okay. So in terms of you moving forward, okay, you have us here. What are the questions you'd like to ask of us? What are the things that we can help you with?
So picking up on Sukhdev's last point about there are people in Vancouver, and yeah, there probably are, but obviously you can't meet face to face so easily right now. But how do I start to try and reach out and connect with these people in Vancouver?
Are you on LinkedIn?
I am, yeah, from years ago.
You could go on to LinkedIn, and it's really important to have a great profile on LinkedIn. But one of the things that you can do for that is you can search for job title and geography on LinkedIn. And then when they come up, you can send them a message and say, I'm a coach in Vancouver, like to work with like-minded people. Do you fancy a virtual tea or coffee? And then use Skype or Zoom or WhatsApp or one of the other platforms to actually have a conversation with them. It's how we met, isn't it, Sukhdev?
Yeah, that's right.
It's exactly how we met. And look at what we're doing now together.
Yeah.
We're collaborating on this project.
Now, you don't even have to find somebody in Vancouver. Like, it could be...
Well, I'm in the UK and you're in Canada. I mean,
Right. You can develop relationships, and some of them are going to work. You'll figure it out. Some of them are going to resonate, and they're going to be worth keeping the connection going with. Otherwise, you just move on, and you thank them for their time, and obviously, it didn't work out, but you find somebody else, and it's just like building that network. And I think that'll be a huge tool for getting you to your goals and where you want to be.
And just one point on that, I'm actually a trained counsellor in the UK, but I'm a novice coach, right? So if I'm connecting on LinkedIn, for example, maybe an experienced coach wouldn't want to connect with me, and maybe it would be another novice coach. So I'm not sure. What's your thoughts on that?
I would be open. I wouldn't categorize yourself as novice or expert, because every time you meet a new person, you're a novice with that person. You have a toolbox to use, and the more experienced you are as a coach, if you're open to it, the more tools you might have at your disposal. But there are many coaches who use the same few tools over and over again. I think it's much more about, is this person, do they have the same values as you? Do you believe in the same approach? You're talking about wanting to help men heal. Actually, in my experience, the level of, the number of years experience you have has got nothing to do with how much experience you've got.
Yeah.
Because there are some people who repeat the year over and over and over again and don't learn. And there are other people who have been doing it a short time, but who have been like sponges and who continue to learn.
Yeah.
So I would say, don't prejudge it. Have a conversation. Out of the conversation, trust your gut, trust your intuition. If it feels right, continue. If not, you've had a nice chat, you say goodbye and you never talk to them again. You've lost nothing.
Yeah.
And ultimately, out of this, set the intention that you will meet the right people. And I think if vibrationally you set that intention and then get out of the way, then you meet the people who you're meant to meet.
Yeah. I need to get out of my own way.
You do, as do most of us, at least at some point or other. We're all very good at getting in our own way.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing is, that talk of failure, I think we all need to learn to fail better.
Yeah.
And by that, I mean that we tend to learn far less when things go well than we do when things go badly, or we think badly. So for me, there's only two failures. That's the failure to give things a go and the failure to learn when they don't go to plan. Okay? But if you're open to giving things a try and you're open to learning from every situation, then it's never a failure.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
we're all on a journey. And, when you look back, ultimately, it's so easy to be critical at the time, but to recognize that actually that was one of probably the best learning experiences that you've been offered. Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's the only exact science. Sadly, none of us got that at our disposal. Life would be very different if we did.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, so the two events that were catalysts for my change and growth and beginning a new journey were two of the worst moments in my life, but I've used those to propel me to a different world that I'm now inhabiting, and it's so awesome. And so I've got so many signposts looking back in my history that sometimes I forget how some of them were really earth-shattering and some were like abusive childhood and whatever. But they are all gifts that can give me, that I can make out of that, make some meaning out of that. That's not to dismiss what I went through. But another factor that I wanted to touch on before we end is this is what I believe right now. The website, and no matter how good I make it, and with all the colors and images and everything, that's not the important thing. The important thing that I've recently learned is it's about me and my brand. What are my values? What do I stand for? And communicating that in my language, maybe my language, in my website, or in my words, or in my, wherever I speak, all right, that this is me. Like, everyone is unique. For example, Steve Jobs and Apple. Steve Jobs was in that brand. The brand was about Steve Jobs. Oprah is about a woman who, her personality, her character is more than the brand. So whoever it is, they have that unique, we're all on this singing from the same song sheet in the personal growth, self-development, coaching, counseling, but we all express it in our own unique way. And that's so it's not about me becoming the new Tony Robbins or Steve Jobs or whatever, or you or someone else becoming the new Oprah. It's about finding within yourself, what is unique about you? Mm-hmm. What can you bring to the marketplace that is authentic, it's congruent with who you are as a person, your values, and just maybe nuance that so you shine above all the noise and like you said, because you're competing with so many people, good people, but to be truly successful, to make a difference in the world, you have to have that like brand. So do you know what I'm saying? So my image of me and other people, I know what I think about me, both good and bad, but other people, so I find it's always helpful to ask other people, why are you my friend, for example? What do you like about me? What are the things you don't like about me? What is unique about me? So for me, it's like, yeah, I'm this old British guy with a London accent, and yeah, that makes me a little bit different, but maybe there's more.
I'm sure there's more, but also I think you're absolutely right. You've got to do the deep dive work on yourself. But I want to give you a slightly different perspective. It's very important that it does start with you. But if you're coaching, and this shows my belief, it's about the people that you want to help.
Yeah.
And so, how can I best serve those people? Who are they? What are their issues? What is it that I can offer that will help that person move to be the best version of themselves? How can I help them stand in their own power? And when you stand in your genuine power, it's not about depleting or diminishing somebody else, because then if you're standing in your power, you want to help other people stand in theirs. Do you know the Marian Richardson poem about being the light? I
No.
can't remember the title, but I'll email it to you afterwards. And she talks about that, you know, who are you to hide your
Who's
light?
the background noise?
Who are you to hide your light? Okay. But I would say to you, yeah, you're really important. But actually, when it comes to service, what's as important is who you're serving. Why is that important to you? But if they don't know that you are available, then they're not going to ever be able to ask for your help. So you could be the most magnificent version of the people that you are, that you mentioned. But one of the things that all of those have been very good at doing is shining their light and saying, this is who I am, but I can help you. Come along and I will do my best to help you. And I think it's got to be that two-sided thing, not just about doing the deep dive work. There are lots of people who do deep dive work and do nothing with it. But if you have a mission to help other people, they've got to know that you're there. And sometimes you have to go through things that are not your favorite, very uncomfortable, things you hate, in order to be in a position to do that. Okay? So I will send you the poem and we'll put it in the show notes because it's so powerful, because she talks about who are you to hide your light, because when you shine your light, you give other people permission to do the same.
That's
but in
right.
order to shine your light, you can't, it's got to be visible by the very nature of it. So how do you make that visible for the people that you're going to help? And being very clear about the people that you're going to help and how you're going to help them so that they can hear your message is really vital. Yeah.
That's really good advice. Yeah.
So, and once, again, it's my belief, but if your focus is on how can I be of service to other people, how can I be the best version of me in order to do that, then you won't go far wrong.
Right.
Okay? But it's always, for me, the focus is on how am I going to be of service, to whom, and in what way, and then how do I let them know?
Right.
Yeah? But of course, that's having done the deep dive and continuing. You never finish doing the deep dive.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's an ongoing journey.
Yeah.
But I think I would suggest to you that broaden the focus out, not just on you, is how do you show up in a way that they can see and hear. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Because that is good, really good. And that totally resonates with me. And the fact that it's right now nearing the end of this conversation, that is a big takeaway for me. One that I've listened to this again, but that's a big takeaway that, you know, yeah, it's about me and doing the work, but if my light isn't shining out there, no one's going to see me. And it's, what's it for? It's not going to help anyone out there. So I need to get out there, no matter how scary, no matter how hard, and just do it.
Yeah.
And I will do it.
I'm sure you
will. I'm determined to my why is so strong that I'm doing everything I can, even though maybe I'm not doing it perfectly. But I will do it. I
Okay.
will do this. I will give it my best shot
I'm sure you will.
because it's really important to me and it's personal. And if I can serve others, and I believe I can, so others similar to me in my journey, that's great. It's a win-win. I'll win, they'll win.
Yeah. Super.
Perfect.
Malcolm, you already did quite a bit of the work on yourself. Like the biggest piece, I think, was that you discovered who you are and you're honest with yourself. A lot of people, there's many people out there who struggle just doing that little bit. They go and do their job, or they do whatever they do in their regular routine because they feel like they have to, and that's just their life. And then they come to bed and then they're like, but they're miserable.
Yeah.
So knowing that you've done, taken the strides that you have in the past, year, 2 years, 5 years, in that time, if you were to look back at yourself 2 years ago, you're probably not the same person.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm never one to what I call be arrogant or brag or anything like that. But yeah, I am honest. I'm honest with myself. What you see is what you get. I don't say one thing to a person and say something else about them to another. I'm very open. I'm very honest. I'm very transparent. And when I look back at my life, 2 years ago, even a year ago, even 6 months ago, I have grown, I have developed, and I am kind of proud of that.
I know you have. I can see it. Yeah, you totally developed. And thinking back now, there's others who are struggling. Excuse me. There's others who are struggling, and they're in the position you were in once. And knowing what you want to do in your life, you have that opportunity to serve those people because you've already grown there. You've gone through the experience. You've developed into this man you are today, and nothing was easy. Again, just like building a business, nothing happens overnight. You worked on yourself, you were honest with yourself, and you made it happen. So, I'm really proud of you for how far you've come. And, websites are one thing, but it's not everything.
Yeah.
So sharing your message is a big thing. I just wanted to say that a little bit to you.
Yeah, I really do. Thank you, Steve. I really do feel that, it's not about the website, but whatever it is, the main thing is I really believe I do have an important message for men who, especially even now in 2020, who still are defined by that toxic masculinity image that a man must be this way or that way, and that is a man. Well, it's all BS. So there are men who have their issues just like women have their own issues to deal with, whether that's, the labels or the stereotypes in the media. You must be this type of woman to be successful, beautiful, skinny, whatever. And it's all BS. And my message is, I believe really needs to be out there, because I'm not being arrogant here, but if I can serve people, or even one person, but the more the merrier, so to speak. If I can do that, I've been, thank you, God. I've done what I came here to do, and that's why I believe I'm very spiritual now. That my life has prepared me for where I'm going to leave my legacy before I leave on this planet. And it's so important for me. It's my mission, right? And that's what drives me.
And having that drive is great. Absolutely wonderful. But it's harnessing that in a really constructive way, okay? And recognizing every journey starts with the first step, and then the next, and then the next. And it's about having a strategic plan and doing something every day consistently towards it. So Sukhdev, as we get to the end of this, you have a last question to ask, don't you?
Yes. So Malcolm, since the beginning of this conversation that we started about an hour ago, you came in feeling a certain way. And now that we've come to this point, I want to know on a scale of 1 to 10, from the beginning to now, how do you feel from our conversation?
So where was I at the beginning in numbers, and where am I now?
Yeah, if you could just share with us like how you feel, you know, from when
so
now.
Yeah, so just around this conversation. So from the beginning to now, so I didn't have any expectations. I wasn't sure what was going to be required or would go down. So I was if I was at a 1, for example, and then fast forward to now, this conversation is so worthwhile. I'm so glad I participated, and thank you both for the opportunity, because it has moved the needle a little bit further. It's another little step to move the needle to achieve what I want to achieve, and that's great. And I love it, and I love the fact that I used to be a person, you know, the self-worth issues. I was always very shy, introverted, and to voice in a conversation with one person in the street or a friend, I would always listen, and I have nothing to say worthwhile, so don't bother. But to get on this and do this with you and feel comfortable that what I'm saying is valuable, and it's not crap, is a big movement for me. So it's like, so in terms of the conversation right now, the hour, the main takeaway is that I've been privileged to be part of this. I've heard things that will move the needle in the direction I want to go, and that's great. And that's a 10. It's got to be a 10.
What's the biggest learning you're going to take?
Probably thinking just off the cuff. It's going to be 2 words that revolve around this: signpost and your light. Website, is one thing, but I need to shine my light out there. The signpost, get out there, take action, participate, write blogs, whatever it takes, and move away from just focusing right now, which I have, that's my mission at the moment, get that website sorted. But that is the big takeaway. Be a signpost and be a light.
Fabulous. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing things with us. We wish you every good fortune. There are so many people out there who need that help. So thank you very much. Do join us on the next programme. Sukhdev and I will have another guest. And once again, we have no idea what they're going to bring us. So come and join us with Gina and Sukhdev Uncut on our next journey. Thank you very much. Take care now. Malcolm, thank you very much. Bye-bye now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.